Hello, hey everybody, it's Kristen, and today we are talking about season 3, episode 3 of Charmed. This is an exciting one because it kind of feels like the true season finale of season 2, and next week we are officially jumpstarting into the real season 3. It's going to be really awesome. I'm so excited because already in that promo that we got for next week, we're already seeing Maggie's got new hairdo going on. It looks like people are finally getting back to their passion. So we'll talk more about that later, but I'm really excited to get into this quote unquote finale as we get into the real season 3. Consider subscribing if you like my videos, and of course leave a comment below with your thoughts, just so that it's a little bit easier so everyone knows. I'm going to start off talking about kind of the source and the sisters going on their journeys. I'm going to talk about what's going on with Jimmy. I'm going to talk about what's going on with Abigail, and that's the order I'm going to go in. So if you want to kind of put your questions in as I'm in that topic so then I can get to them, or any comments you have, that would be awesome. I also want to shout out that I have some merch. If you didn't know, I host a podcast called Pop Culture Planet that's focused on inclusion and representation in Hollywood. And if you want to support me now, you can by checking out the merch I created. There's a sweatshirt, a t-shirt, a sticker, and you can check it out at teespring.com/stores/Kmaldo. You can also easily get to it from my channel if you check out. There's a shop button. And if you buy anything or check it out, please tag me and let me know at Kmaldo. Now, let's get into this episode. I gotta say, I actually really liked this episode a lot. And I know you guys know that I've been very, critical of things that have gone on, but there was a lot of things that I actually really enjoyed about this one. First of all, with everything going on, the sisters are really focused on the greatest power and the greatest sacrifice. That's kind of like the big theme of this episode. And they did something that I didn't expect that they would do, which is bring back the source. I don't know if anyone else was surprised. I just kind of felt like anything that was from season 1, they weren't going to touch again. So to see that they brought back the source and that was going to be kind of their solution to saving this magical tree, I was like, oh, okay, we're doing this. All right, we're going to go back and find the source. I think it was definitely like the perfect solution. And yeah, James, the source had me shook too. I was like, wow, okay, we're doing this. And, we see Abby perform a demon mind meld on the sisters to kind of help them remember where they each put their piece of the source. And they get to go on these individual adventures to find, the pieces that they hid with the clues that they have. Taryn also says that he was surprised that they brought back the source. I was surprised. And I have to say, I know that we don't like usually when they go on solo adventures because we want the sisters to be together, which I wholeheartedly agree. But this was the one time where I was like, actually, this makes sense for them to go on their solo journey, And I loved that it tied back to things from the past that, were connected to them. I mean, we get to go back to Hilltown. I was screaming. I was like, we're going back to Hilltown? What? I can't be the only one that was excited about that. I was just really happy that they went back to those things. And this was probably the first episode where I felt like they actually went back to the things that they were introduced to in the past, And James says, I love that Macy's piece was hidden spatial-wise, Mel's was hidden time-wise, and Maggie's was hidden emotional-wise. That's a great point. I also really loved that they all kind of tied back to things that the girls were feeling in the first season. Maggie, being in Kappa and the sisterhood, and Mel trying to figure out what happened to their mom, and Macy feeling left out. I felt like they kind of connected in that way as well. And so, yeah, I mean, so for Mel, first of all, she hid the source at her mother's grave in the future, which was awesome because it was a shout out to Hilltown, a shout out to Marisol, and a shout out to Mel's former time powers. Blue Wolf says, I was excited that they took us out of safe space. Definitely agree. And then, Blue Savior says Hilltown was a sight for sore eyes. Yeah, we definitely, we love it. James, world building, right? I love when they go back to those past moments, so we got a shout out to Hilltown, a shout out to Marisol, a shout out to Mel's former time powers. And it was really cool seeing them kind of go into the future. I know we want to see more time travel stuff, how in the original they would go to the past or the future and things like that. So it was cool to see them go into the future. I liked seeing those holographic flowers, seeing an older Ruby, seeing that they were able to save everything. And of course, you know, there's this big question now of like, is Mel really going to die? Because she and Abby see her gravestone there, that she's the one that sacrifices herself and dies to save the magical world. James says, James says, I don't remember when Mel could time travel in season 1, but still awesome. She had time abilities, so it was harder to time travel, but you know, I just like that they went back to like that ability and kind of referenced it in that way. And James says, loved the time travel. Yeah, I thought that was really cool. That we kind of got to see Hilltown in 2 different time periods. You know, we got to see them go to the future, 2070, and also in present day. So Maggie went back to Kappa House. And I was so happy to see her go back and to see that she was remembered so fondly from, you know, her time there. You know, they made a whole tribute wall to her. And it was nice that they, you know, that she kind of had a little bit of a legacy going on there. And Jesus, where did it go? It says, you called it from the very beginning with the red nails. Props to you, girl. Thank you. Yeah, I think we were talking about last season that if anyone was going to die, it could be Mel. Basically, you know, it was like looking in the Charmed book, it was like the names that were written in red were the ones that died, and she had been wearing red nail polish, and we were like, maybe that's a hint, and it sort of was, but also she didn't die. So we're glad she didn't die, though. You know, we figured it out. But yeah, with Kappa, we actually get to see one of her past Kappa sisters, Heidi, who was in Kappa Spirit. So that was a reference. I wish that we had seen Lucy, though, which I'm sure, here we go. I'm mad that the Kappa who saw them wasn't Lucy. Yeah, I wish that it had been Lucy. Another comment about Lucy. So that was fun. That was fun to go back to Kappa, and wish it was Lucy, but at least we got to go there and kind of see how her legacy has continued at Kappa, and that they still remember her and miss her. And we go and we get to see that it wasn't really Kappa that she left her piece of the source at. It was actually the jewelry box that her father had given her. It was actually really from Mel, we found out. But I was glad that they even made reference to that, because, you know, it was another thing that we got to see in the past episodes, you know, this jewelry box that obviously means a lot to Maggie. And then they brought it back, and that's where she had put the source. And then also with Macy, she hid her piece as far as humanly possible from Hilltown. And I thought that was interesting because it really connected back to those feelings that she had of isolation and loneliness. Oh, okay. We got a comment that from Taylor that one of the writers said that they wanted to get Lucy to come back, but she was busy. Well, hopefully maybe if they go back again or something. But anyway, so yeah, Macy hid her piece as far as possible, and it kind of just connected back to those feelings of like isolation and how she felt separated from the sisters. So that was something I thought was really cool, was that, you know, yes, they connected to their original powers, kind of where they put each thing, but also it connected back to the things that they were going through in the first season. And so I felt like that was like a nice little reference. Yeah, James says it's the attention to detail that makes this episode so good. Yeah, absolutely. That's the things that I really liked about this episode, was that attention to detail about these moments that I feel like we haven't gotten to see that much in the seasons recently, where, you know, where something actually connects back to things from the past, and you're telling the story that continues, and you're building these characters, and, you know, they make reference to things as making references to things that had happened already. Like, that's the stuff that I like to see. And so, you know, I'm glad that they were able to make those references. Oh, good catch, Blue Savior. Says, I'm glad she kept the jewelry box because she almost got rid of it because she thought that keeping the past was being childish. So it's a good thing she kept it. Otherwise, it would have been in a world of hurt. And James says, yeah, we need to keep more of that going forward, that, you know, just keeping those references to past things that have happened and just continuing to build the world, which I really love that. I also really liked in this episode, in terms of the magic, I felt like there was a really good balance going on. You know, yes, magic is dying, but actually I kind of felt like we saw more magic in this episode than we've seen in past episodes, while also balancing them using some real life solutions when the magic doesn't work, and even using science to figure things out. I thought that was a good like trio of things that they had going on that really worked. And I also, I can't be the only one who thought this, but I thought it was so funny to see them doing a spell through Zoom with Celeste. And it brought me back to, do you remember that OG episode of Charmed when Phoebe's voice was on the tape recorder? And the girls from her class used the tape recorder and magic actually worked just through the tape recorder, through like the technology. Like that was crazy. And so this kind of reminded me of that a little bit of, just the fact that they're doing a spell through Zoom. What? Isn't that crazy? I thought that was so funny. James is like, yes, more magic. Yeah, I thought there was a lot, which I really appreciated. So now we got to get into like kind of the main, climax of this episode, which is they've got the source back together now, right? The greatest power is there. But what about the greatest sacrifice? So it looks like Mel is supposed to die based off of them seeing her gravestone in the future, but the sisters decide to work together. And honestly, I wish that there had been like one more scene here of the sisters sitting down, talking, having like real sisterly bonding moments. Cause that's the one of the things that I felt was missing from this episode for me is that already in these episodes, we never really get to see them bonding. And then this was kind of like that one where like, yeah, it did make sense for them to go do their individual things, but this also comes down to them, their sisterhood being really strong. And I think that's something that we still aren't seeing. I wanted to see a little bit more of that like sister bonding or something like that before they sacrifice themselves. And we got a comment from James who says, I love how Macy's like, I'm the eldest. It has to be me. And Tez saying, I think Mel, volunteering showed how much she's grown. Yeah, I think I definitely agree. I think Macy kind of being like, I'm the eldest, it kind of felt more like a responsibility. But, as Tez says, each sister kind of had a valid reason why she should do it. And, I just wish that we had a little bit more of like a moment beforehand of the sisters like having a great connection. But in the end, they do. Oh, hold on. Blue Savior says, yes, the bonding was missing in this episode. Also, the magical powers the original used, their powers within their lives, which is a reboot. Yeah, they need to get their. I think that's happening in the next half. They're gonna be going back to their regular lives with magic. But yeah, I think that I would have liked one more scene, just bonding. But regardless, they work together. They put the tree and the source together to save all magic. And in the end, everything works out. The sisters save magic. No one dies because the greatest sacrifice of all was just their willingness to give their lives for each other. So they've once again kind of skated through, like they got out of the situation. And now there's a new issue, though. The sisters and Harry, they can't touch each other without this big electrical current pushing them apart. So what do you think that's all about? Obviously, all the times where I was like, this is the pandemic situation that they keep saying is going to happen. I guess it's this, right? Like it has to be the fact that they physically can't touch each other because of this electrical current. James, they need to get Kristen in the writing room. Oh my God. I wish. That would be awesome. I got lots of ideas. But yeah, what do you guys think is going on with this electrical current? I guess this is really what the pandemic that they teased was because, they can't touch each other. Taylor brings up a great question. I wonder if this is going to affect all magical beings. Yeah. Maybe. Also, I wonder, because they're the ones that actually had their hands in the Black Amber, if maybe that's why this is happening. Although I guess Harry didn't, so I'm not sure why he would have that issue. But also, I think someone else brought up, let me see if I can find the comment a few posts ago. The fact that they had their hands in the Black Amber, is that going to do anything to affect their powers? Dwayne says, Mel needs to be a time, which hopefully she will be again since Mel touched the Black Amber again. Yeah, so I wonder, will that affect them, the fact that they touched the Black Amber? Or maybe, do you think maybe the fact that they had their hands in there for so long that they kind of supercharged their powers and that's why they can't touch anyone because they have supercharged themselves, and then like if you touch something, kind of like when you get like a static electricity shock, you know, and if you like touch a rug and then you touch something, it like sparks. Maybe it's like that. Like maybe they've supercharged their powers to the point where like they can't touch things. Oh, great comment from Jesus. I think they all equally absorbed a piece of the source, and now they're like too overpowered. I don't know, right? That's a great theory, though. I think that's a really great idea of like what could have happened. So maybe that's why they can't touch Harry. Like maybe they can't touch anyone, but other people can touch things. And maybe the reason why Harry was affected was just because he was with like in the room with them. Like if he touched someone else, he'd be fine, but maybe because he tried to touch them. But yeah, that would be really interesting. So I'm curious to see like where they're going to go with this. And of course, the episode's not over yet. We still got a couple more things to talk about. Jimmy and Harry's situation. So while everything's going on, while the girls are saving all magic is down for a little bit. And Jimmy shows up from London. It looked like he was living a great life as a florist. But maybe when the magic was down, he was able to like remember the past, and he shows up to fight Harry, and it's like, you know, they can kill each other at this point now, and they do. And Harry kills Jimmy, and as James says right here, the Jimmy thing, it was too rushed. It was weird. Like I felt like it was so random and unnecessary, and then they didn't even address it after. Like, is Harry going to tell the sisters that he killed Jimmy? I don't really get why they brought him back for that. I think they could have just like let him like live his life in London and be happy. Sergio says it was random and it didn't fit the story. You know, like Jimmy wanted to be free this whole time, and he finally had that chance, and instead he like went after Harry for revenge, and it just seemed like that was, you know, like that he'd already moved past that situation. So I thought it was kind of weird and rushed and didn't make sense. But I guess now that they've done that, we don't have to worry about Jimmy anymore. I guess it's, you know, his story is done. He's not going to come back as a big bad or come back later on. I think it would have been nice if they just like let Jimmy do his thing, you know, live out his life in London. And then, of course, we got to talk about Abigail. Oh, my goodness. So Jordan gives her that note and package from last week's episode from her sister. And inside is like this strange looking figure and a note that says to never contact her sister and her mother ever again. And it's signed W. So I'm like, all right, have we ever met a character with the initial W? Who could this be? I don't know. She cracks open this figure and she breathes in this thing that like transforms her. There's a lot going on there. Who is her sister? Is this like her full demon face now? Like, and she says there's no stopping her now. What is her plan? So we got a couple of comments in here. Let's go back. Jesus says Abigail looked pretty badass at the end. It looks like she's gonna need that magical boost because it looks like they're gonna need that magical boost because she was scary. Yeah, she looked like very creepy. James says I think Abigail is really now the demon overlord. Let's see what else we got here. Blue says if she's not the overlord because of that thing, then I quit. Tez says Abigail always is up to something. She was too sneaky for my liking. Terrence says I feel bad for Abby. I feel bad for Abby too. I feel like there's just a part of her that really just wants to be like part of a family or loved or, you know, be accepted, and nobody ever wants to do that for her. But I feel like, you know, maybe, I mean, there's a good comment here from Pamela who says revenge on W. Maybe that was to, you know, maybe her plan is to get revenge on her family. That would be interesting. Landon says, what if Ruby is her sister because Abigail said kind of like recognized her in the future? Maybe. But what's the W? You know, like, Joshua says, I believe Abigail could be a threat to the sisterhood and to the witch world. I just don't trust her. James says they just need to make up their minds about Abigail. I feel like they don't know, right? Like, there's times when she's helping, there's times when she's not. I think she's just one of those like misunderstood characters that's just like trying to, like, this is a great point, Blue, that Abigail is jealous of the sisterly bond, although honestly I think that they could definitely do more with the sisterly bond and make that actually like a strong feature, but that she wishes that she had that with her sister, and that might be what sent her over the edge. Yeah, so maybe it's a jealousy thing. I think she's misunderstood, and I don't know if she's going to end up being a bad guy. I don't know if that, like, breathing in whatever that was kind of got rid of her witch side and embraced her demon side more, or what. And James says, I don't want it to be cheesy with the girls taking Abigail out from being bad, but I think that could happen. You know, maybe they'll have to take Abigail out. But let us also talk about that promo for next week, right? We're finally getting into, this was really like the season finale. This is what would have been the season finale. I don't know if maybe there was any edits or tweaks or things, but this is what is technically the season finale of season 2. And we're about to start like the real season 3. This is what I'm waiting for. We can already tell it's going to be different. We got Maggie with a brand new hairstyle. She's looking great. She's popping those curls. James, Maggie's hair. Yes. I'm obsessed. And we clearly are going to see the girls kind of getting back to normal. We see Mel in like a teaching environment. We get to see some other characters that are going to be showing up kind of in the background. We got a little peek already at there's a new character played by, someone already brought it up in the comments, JJ Hawkins. I'm glad we get to see JJ Hawkins now. Yes, we get to see a little bit of him in the promo, and I'm just ready for the girls to kind of like go back a little bit to, their passions, go back to the things that they loved, but also still figuring out this magical world, because in the first season, they were living their lives as normal girls, and they got thrust into this world. They found out their sisters, they found out their witches, they lost their mom, all this stuff. Second season, it's like everything's gone. All we have is that we're fighting this magical battle. We have nothing else going on in our lives. And I think in this last few episodes, we've seen them kind of have a change of heart of being like, this is something the original Charmed ones dealt with a lot as well. This is a difficult situation, but like, what are you going to not live your life? You need to be able to live your life as well. Otherwise, what's the point of doing all this and saving everyone all the time if you can't try to have a regular life and love and a job and family and things like that. So I'm excited for this next episode. I feel like it's going to be like a big jumping off point. I'm crossing my fingers that we really enjoy it. And just get to go back to those passions. We get some new looks from the sisters. I'm hoping for more magic, more magical creatures. Figuring out what's going on with this like electrical current that shows up whenever they try to touch. So I'm excited. I think it's going to be, I'm crossing my fingers it's good. If you guys have any other comments or questions, feel free to throw them in. I'm going to go for a couple more minutes, and then we're going to wrap things up. Got an interesting comment from James saying, I hope there's a solid time jump. Do you think that there's a time jump? I wasn't sure. I mean, we do see, they have some new looks going on, but it'd be cool if they jumped a little bit and were like more advanced with their powers and maybe had some more powers going on. Let's see. We got a comment from Jesus. Weren't we going to meet new family members? Wasn't that what the directors revealed on your interview? Yes. They did mention we're going to meet another family member. We don't know who it is. I don't know why, but in my head, I keep thinking it's a cousin. I feel like there's like a cousin that's going to show up. And I'm excited to see like how that comes into play. How is this cousin going to be, or person, whoever it is, going to be introduced in the story? Every Wizard says, did Julian remind you of someone from the original show? Dr. Williamson, his sister was sick, and he took the Charmed One's blood, and he had their powers. Actually, I mentioned that in my last video. That reminded me of Vivian, because Vivian was the one that got infused with all this power, and then the Charmed One's power technically which is what made her explode. And that kind of reminded me of Dr. Curtis Williamson's story. James says, I feel like it would be sudden if they all went back without a time jump. Yeah, that makes sense. Maybe they'll jump ahead a couple of months or something. I said I hope to see a cousin. I see some people saying they want to see a Grams. I see Jesus saying maybe an aunt. Okay. James says, watching season 1 right now, and I forgot how different it is. Oh my God, it was a whole different show. It truly was very different. Jesus, Ray's sister. Ooh, I loved Ray. I hope Ray comes back. I would love to see that. Yeah, he was like a character that I really enjoyed meeting. You know, whenever we get to go and do those things where we like meet people that further their storylines, like in their backgrounds and their family history and the magical history and everything, I just love that. James, I want to see an older family member who can maybe teach them some magic. It would be interesting if there's like more magical people in their family, because we haven't, met that before. So it seems like they're kind of like on their own. That'd be kind of crazy though if they introduced so late in the game, like, actually, here's this other random person that can help you that's a member of your family that could have showed you all this stuff. I'd be like, what? Elders, why didn't you introduce me to them before? More family and sister moments are needed. Definitely agree. Blue says, I would love to see the Charmed ones have some male witches in their family. Taylor, I would love to see some of Macy's relatives. Actually, that would be really nice. I would like to see some of Macy's relatives too. Quick question. I'm super late, but in the last episode, Macy used telekinesis. Isn't that the OG ability? And if it's the OG ability, why isn't Mel a time witch? They kind of like switched things up a little bit. Macy kept her powers similar. Mel got new powers. Maggie kind of like got different powers. I don't really know why. Jed says, where do you think that energy came from, the one that kept them from touching each other? I think from them having their hands in the black amber. I think that either like supercharged their powers or something, infused them with the powers of the source or something maybe, and made it so that they're too overcharged and they can't touch each other, or maybe something like that. Joshua says, I love Maggie's new hair. Same. She looks great. I'm excited for more like fashion moments. I love all their clothes. They always look so cute. And then they've all been having good hair. Oh my God, Macy's been having really good hair, like all these cute hairstyles in like every episode. I love it. I'm gonna be on for like 2 more minutes and then I'm gonna wrap up. So if there's anything else you guys want to add, just want to shout out. I do these Charmed live streams every week, and you can catch them, after the episodes. I also have other videos out, not just about Charmed. If you like other shows and movies and interviews, I do a lot of that on my channel. I mentioned earlier, but I also launched some merch. I have some podcast called Pop Culture Planet. So I have like a sweater and a t-shirt and stickers, and there's like a shop button on my channel that you can check it out if you're interested. I was wearing the sweater the other day in one of my videos, and it's so soft. Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed. Okay, another comment. Jed says, why was Harry affected by that explosion-y electrical thing? I don't know if he was really affected, or if maybe it's just that the Charmed ones can't touch anyone, so maybe he's, he was there trying to come in on a group hug or whatever they were doing, and that's why he got kind of pushed out. Like, I don't know if it has to do with Harry or really the girls. Oh, another great comment is from Blue says, what if the energy has something to do with Harry killing Jimmy? I mean, that actually could be very interesting as well, because I feel like it has to do with the sisters, but that would be an interesting theory because, you know, I'm sure a dark lighter and a white lighter have never like killed each other before. So, let's see. Pascal says, with the faction defeated and the sacred tree restored, maybe the charmed ones have a normal civil life. Will they make a charm to change their physical appearance and reveal that they weren't dead? I don't know what they're going to do, but I know that they're definitely going to go back or try to go back to a normal civilian life. Like in my Charmed interview with the showrunners, they talked about like having Maggie go back to school, having Mel go back to like teaching, having Macy go back to science, and kind of get back into their passions in their everyday lives. And so I'm excited to see what happens there. I don't know if they're going to like change what they look like, if they're going to stay in Seattle or go somewhere else, but I'm excited to see what happens as we jump ahead into the next episode and kind of like the real new season. James, I wish they had more Demon of the Week episodes. Preach. I agree. I definitely want to see that. Let's see. Taylor, I wonder how Harry will tell the girls about Jimmy. I'm curious too, or if he'll keep it a secret and maybe it will eat away at him and maybe that'll become like a whole storyline for him. I don't know. Okay, I'm going to do one more comment. What if the relative that we are going to see is Marisol's sister? Maybe that woman we saw in the past in season 1 Marisol was talking to was her sister. I think that they showed that that was a fellow like elder witch, actually. So I don't think that's her sister. Taryn says, thank you for all the ideas. I love your videos. See you next time. Thank you for stopping by. See you next time. James says, can we expect a season 2 review? I think I talk so much every week. You guys want to hear me talk more? I don't think I'm going to do a season 2 review because, you know, we have all those other videos up already. But I appreciate the that you like that you guys love the videos and want to see more. Plus, I'd have to go rewatch everything. Like, I don't even remember now. I'd have to go rewatch so much. All right. I'm going to wrap things up now. I appreciate you guys' time and dropping by every week. I'm going to try to make these like more consistent. I want to do them every Monday, these live streams. It's just, you know, sometimes I'm busy with all these videos. But, you know, make sure to check out my content outside of Charmed as well, you know, because I got a lot of stuff going on. But also, you know, of course, we got our Charmed videos. Throw one more in there. Joshua, we need a story, a past life story with the Vera sisters. Yes, I'd love to see that as well. I think that'd be really fun. Give them a chance to do something a little bit different. You know, maybe go into a different decade or something. Anyway, thank you guys so much for your time, and make sure to check out more of my Charm videos right over here, and I will catch you in my next live stream. See ya.